start writing some fan fiction.
I'm so overwhelmed with headcanon from Baldur's Gate 3 that I can't, my brain won't fit anymore, but that's why I need my abacus to do math, because otherwise there's no way I could. Anyway, speaking of, we will probably get to see that card played here as Sif opens with Syndicate and Paya opens with Self-Wound Skellige. Iada in chat says probably pirate crewmates, but that's so much less interesting as headcanon, right? Like
There could be something spicier on top of that.
Yeah, maybe it was a friends to love, or enemies to lovers, or an enemy to friends to lovers. Like we love those arcs. By we I mean me. That's Pajabol spelled correctly, Pajabol. And then we have here 04 Sif, great, wolf.
The other arc that is loved by a lot of players is during your Madame Marquis Serenity round 1. And Sif has managed to fulfill that story arc. So out come the Peaches, out comes the Slice Seductress. So now these Skellige self-wounders are going to have to make do with these denizens of the Passiflora.
The denizens of the Passiflora. I love that. Thanks for that, Maytol. That is sup ladies, the answer to your question. Maytol, you know, it's funny, Maytol is serving a function that I will probably never need to have, given how small how like intimate my stream community is, and is essentially modding right now by like answering chat questions that I don't have that like before I see them. And that's actually really great and really cool. And now I see why people like having mods, because that's actually really handy.
Yes. Especially handy casting, because we need to manage to commentate as this soul comes down.
Oh, and, yeah, I should... how have I not made Maytol VIP?
Maytol definitely deserves it. Yes, no, this isn't hitting cashless, so Sif does need to maintain the 9 Horde at the end of each turn to get full value out of the soul. But with the Marquis and the soul, this is quite hard for Paja to make up. I don't know how they would, since there is no save board in hand. I wonder if Sif is gonna go for a Temper Pass. I don't think it's amazing to go. I don't think you'd take round 3, the long round 3. Like, yeah, you're on Devotion, you have a Heat Wave. Oh, no, this is Devotion.
Let's see.
As if...
Yeah, you're right. This one is Devotion. I don't know. I mean, you're getting 5 points a turn, plus you'll keep max coins, which, like you said, if it's dry pass into round 3 is less valuable. But the question becomes, if this isn't a Heat Wave, then I don't even know. I mean, I'm sure that if you're Paya, that you could do it, playing down to 4 cards.
I think, actually, it would be a bit different if there was a defender in this list. Potentially, but
and we do see the snap pass from Sif. I thought this was obviously a maxi. I thought it was a tutor, but I forgot that this list from Paya, apologies chat, does not play a Neuromancy. So yeah, so now at generating 5 points a turn for Sif, Paya needs to make up almost 60 points over the next 3 cards. Right? At least 5, 10, currently down essentially to almost 30, so yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, Paj is getting 2.5 points per turn here. Sif is getting sort of
5. So
yeah, so 7 per turn.
So it's more like 45 in 3 cards.
Yeah.
The Care Troll played now means that you can remove one of the engines by putting the armor onto the priest, but it's probably like just something like Old
You might
Gear,
see the
right?
Old Gear being played.
Yeah, because the old geared removes one is a 19 is essentially a 20-point play with the control click, and then you still owe a card.
Yeah, I don't know what you play after that.
Yeah, that's what I'm imagining Paya's doing the math to see, like, what does it take after, like, minus that interaction, what does it take to get out? Finds a skirm, that's certainly helpful.
That could have been known due to the maxi if the shuffle was not taken.
That's true. So we're not sure, or I'm not sure because I didn't do a screen grab, so I'm not sure if Paya knew that was on top. Still, I mean, at a 2 and 15 to be on top is one way or another is good, but
okay, it's Draco total taken. I think this can play for a bit more than the old geared, and is enough to get ahead here. Okay.
That math, I would have never been able to do the Draco Turtle math there.
So I think, yeah, the armor disappearing, turning into points, combines a little more efficiently than just the old gear not taking damage. So that bit of synergy, able to get the lead there by the thinnest of margins. However, it's quite a good hand, I would say, if the candle can be found for a dry pass eventuality. Setting up the Novigrad here, it's so good, right? It's absolutely amazing because it's going to be given 1 coin per turn for the entirety of this 10 card round 3.
Yeah, for the rest of the
game.
game.
You can just click it to create a bronze game whenever you like.
And you get, of course, the added value of you get the carryover now, and then, like you said, you get essentially 10 coins. 9 after 10 coins.
Yeah,
10 coins for the rest of the game.
Yeah. Well, I guess the last coin you can't really use because it's after you passed. But
right. That's what my brain was trying to get to.
Candle is found now, but wasn't there on the dry pass.
Candle and Yago is good. If you're Sif, it's probably not great to miss these other 2 removal cards and then have a 3rd poison in hand that then might compel you more so to take the bank for a poison, which is not as good when you miss both the golds. Meanwhile, it looks like Paya found most of what... Yeah, Paya found essentially everything I think you could probably ask for here. Although that 3rd poison might get some legs since Paya ended up with a Peller in hand, so...
Yeah, it's also... I don't know what you poison here. It could be the Olgid. You can poison Sigvald, you kind of have to because that's your only answer. However, when the Sigvald gets clicked, it actually purifies itself.
Right, and then if you went to poison it a second time, then it can get Pellered, and then you have a 3rd useless poison.
Yes. So the Sigvald... Look, the poisons can maybe force a preemptive Sigvald click.
That's true.
But if you're able to get the Sigvald really, really tall, which can happen if you just get a Martyr onto it, then the Canoe can be used with the Sigvald for a lot of value just straight away. Because the bleeding only triggers very, very slowly.
So we see here the Salamandra Mage gets played without the tribute, gets protected, but otherwise just goes on the board to get extra value for the other tributes when they get played, which is good. And there is a Shady Vendor and a Salamander Mage at a minimum that will do just that. That's a good question, Rev. I'm not smart enough to know why. I imagine it's just because it's the most proactive thing when the board state was only 2 artifacts and a Flying Redanian. I would imagine that then the totem, getting the totem down just makes sense. It also, the sooner that you have access to the totem click can be good for value generation, although in this case, Paya didn't spend any leader charges in the previous rounds, so Just like you called out, though, Lemon, we do see the old geared get poisoned first. So we'll see if this elicits the Peller here.
Yeah, it's probably partly for the reasons I mentioned, also partly just because you need something to play here. Particularly if you want to maybe spend on the Salamander Mage. But going into self-wound, things often don't take damage. Not very often you'll have 3 units lined up in a row to get a good Salamander Mage tribute.
And you probably need to hold the the horse and junior for probably to remove Svalblood or Canute or any other number of any other combination of that. Although there is the Sigdrifa's right in hand for Paya, so that
I'd expect
not gonna be great.
Yeah, I'd expect Horson to clean up one of them, and then we'll likely see a bank into Freak Show to clean up the other.
That tracks.
We finish them, then I finish you.
But you have to be quite careful, because if you kill the Canoe, it can just come back with the Sigdrifa's right, and you have a limited number of poisons. It could even be a potential back row shady vendor trying to get a payday to finish off the Canoe.
True.
I'm not sure how many gangs are in the starting deck here, but with the bloody good friends found, pulling the strings could be a quite scary play coming onto the Canoe.
Interesting here. So Sif opts to poison both,
The realm of the living severs your
which
chain
also
of abandoned
continues to
now,
delay
slain.
Paya getting the rest of the setup done. So now we see, do we see a Fist Tech then? Do you go after the Sigvald again before there's any real value generated with the Canute? Because, I mean, this is just delay, right? Sif is just continuing to force Paya to delay doing anything that he wants to do, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's... Paja's really the one with engines here. Sif, I guess they're Salamages, but Sif is basically just point slam and a couple of answers at this point. Yeah. Also keep in mind, Paja doesn't know how many poisons are in hand for Sif, so that could also be influencing, as you say, like how the sequencing is done.
Yeah, so there's still this one. Also, King of Beggars is at 4. So King of Beggars is a blind eye, right? And there's... Okay, and those are blind eyes, so those are already out. And there we see the huge Sigvald getting Hooge. Big boy, much drunk. And no answer for that left for Sif. So when Canute comes down, that's gonna be a bad day.
What are the gangs again? It's Blind Eyes, Tide Cloaks, Crown Splitters, Cut Up, Salamandra, and I'm missing one.
Best not play with fire, liable to get burned.
Salamandra, Blind Eye, Tide Cloak, Cut-Ups.
One I'm missing.
Crown Splitters.
No, there's 6 in total, right?
Yeah. Didn't we...
I can't remember what the 6th one is.
Firesworn.
That's it. Yeah,
Look,
so there's...
crowdsourcing the answer. Thank you, chat.
Yes, I don't think there's a Crown Splitter or a Firesworn in the starting deck, so pulling the strings would only be a C's 4, so Canute would be safe from that.
You are correct.
At least unless it did go down to 4 power, maybe through some Spellblood board damage. Shenanigans.
So the Svalblood comes down before the Canute. Okay. Makes sense because, yeah, it's going to be a lot of board damage by the Svalblood. If you remove the Svalblood now with the Junior, you could also, like you said, you can play for, what is it? It'd be bloody good. For what, one of the damages would be able to do 6. Is it the?
You need a bloody good fun from the
Bloody good
front
fun.
row, but that's really not consistent. The pool of 4Ps is huge.
Bigger, yeah.
You could actually get an assault as well. There is 2 Salamandra units that would work, but
So
then you're
instead
kind of
goes-
just going way too
goes
much on
with-
RNG.
Decides the app. This is what you had said before, was to was to just go ahead and do Freak Show, and then that puts another damage engine which you can pair with Horsen if it lives.
Yeah. So it probably dies here. You see the damage on Knut. So this likely gets the Horsen, and then Knut gets resurrected.
And then you get a 1,000,000-point Sigvald. You get a absolutely huge Sigvald. Iago's going to play for a lot of points, and I'm not sure what the Shady Vendor is doing, except maybe to try and then hold this for, like you said, some flavor of damage for the Knut.
What do you need?
And it is Knut.
Yeah, probably some kind of damage. I think Baku is probably just the most consistent here. You either get a payday or like a stolen mutagens.
Man's got the wares.
Or just miss all of them.
Or you could just miss all of them.
Maybe you seize the Fnatic here, but I don't think that's amazing. I mean, I think it's better than the other stuff, to be fair. Although maybe you just go for the coinage here so that you're able to get a bigger Yago, but Yago just gets heat waved here, so I don't think you're worried about that. Yeah, I think the best play is just pulling the strings on the Fnatic.
That interests me.
So all that time I put into worrying about the gangs does actually matter here.
Yeah.
Not expecting that.
Seas4.
And so Sif, I think, saying, like, gee whiz golly, wouldn't it have been nice for me to find damage so that you don't get another, you know...
Yeah. Look, I don't think it matters here, particularly with Paja having the last say onto the Yago.
With the heat wave on the Yago, yeah.
Yeah. I don't think Paja even needs to click Sigvald, basically, to win at this point. We'll see how big this Yago is. It'll be nice to see.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was trying to math and see. It'd be nice to...
Trade of service.
And then, so then did I do the math right there? It plays then for 21? Is that right?
Because it was a 21 point Yago.
12 and then you get 9 points back?
Actually, it doesn't play too much into the heat wave, to be fair. Actually, this was more points than I was expecting. With the actual spending, kind of efficient spending from the Candid.
Yowzers, that's a big Sigvald. 7 hells.
But yeah.
That was what, a 70-point swing?
Yeah, the Sigvald was 49 points. Tiff's entire board was 44 points.
Yeah. So, so game 1 goes to, let me move this to where it needs to be. Game 1 goes to Pio from Red Coin.
Yeah, and I wonder how that goes differently if the Tempo Pass wasn't taken. Because you see there that, I mean, the last say didn't matter as much as I expected, because the Yago didn't actually end up going that tall. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely agreed. If the Knut, that game is a lot closer if the Knut dies on after it's replayed from Sigdriff is right, so then it doesn't get 2 more clicks, which is worth what? Another dozen points or so?
Yeah.
Well, no, more. Well, obviously more than that, right? It's the removal plus the value on the clicks, so it's actually more like 20 something.
I think what it would have got clicked 2 more times.
Yeah.
I think each click was worth about 12 points, 6 damage, and then
So
6
24.
bleeding, which then turns into points.
Yeah. So the
it was like
removal
maybe
plus the
11
click, yeah.
and 10.
So
It's
20.
like about 22, 24 points difference.
Yeah, which would have made it. I mean, that would have been a single-digit game then. But yeah, but still, I mean, I think both players played that well, like you said. So looking back, would you say that it's you don't take the tempo pass and then you bleed, or you don't take the tempo pass and you just keep last say?
I think the Timber Pass was still correct, actually. Yeah, I think it was probably still correct.
Yeah, because if
stuff
Paya
we
doesn't
force out
have,
from...
if Paya doesn't have the right hand there, then he has to commit a lot more than what he did in order to get out.
Yeah. Yeah, and look, you still forced out the Draco Turtle and the location, which is quite big.
Yeah, it's just tough. It's just tough playing in it this flavor of the Syndicate deck into that flavor of control.
Yeah. And look, Sif maybe even would have done a bit better if the counter was in hand round 2, getting that on the pass and then playing another card in the round 3.
True.
As well. But we'll see Syndicate again here, but from Paja with the lined pockets, playing up against this Precision Strike control list. So this is running the Simless Armorer's Workshop combo along with the Dennis Kramer, Lady the Lake being used with the Emir Mansi and the Arendite. So it's a bit of a hybrid between kind of like the Renfrey Precision Strikes and then the Guerrilla Tactic Shuru control lists, taking bits and bobs from both those lists. Okay, so we have Madam, probably just leads Madam. Yep, so 3 engines on board now. Quite difficult to deal with unless we see a full leader commitment. You could very well just go for a backup plan, a leader, and something along those lines. Or, okay, Zoltan makes sense actually. Yeah, actually Zoltan combines even better with the leader.
And we see full leader here, which tracks. Yeah. With P strike lists, of course, you don't mind, particularly from red coin, you don't mind controlling the opponent's board while also doing the thinning.
Yes, this helps you try to win on even, helps you get extra Arendite value, thins the deck a bit as well with this leader. Also sets up your Barnabas Beckenbauer quite nicely. You can use backup plan to get you your elf, and then you have all 3 tags you like for the Beckenbauer.
I just realized that my emote wall has not been emote walling, and I'm gonna refresh that. Refresh cache, close. That's super frustrating to me because one of my favorite things that ever happened was yeah, there we go. Okay, that's better. Because if I don't have a flaming Elmo screaming as an emote, like bouncing up in the middle of the screen and distracting everyone, have I done a good job as a streamer? And the answer is no. No, I haven't. Lemon, these are the things that keep me up at night. I hope that your life is equally as troubled and difficult as mine.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't even managed to
it
get
was at this moment that he
working,
knew
so
he fucked up.
my worries are not even getting as much work done as yours.
Well, you know, I mean, you know, you're focused on things like sleep and creating a sustainable life for yourself. And, you know, sure, I guess.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, that's a lot better than the truth. Let's go with that.
We do see Paya here looking to try and snipe Zoltan. At a minimum, took the armor off so the barricade gets shut off. Yeah. Was also maybe looking to try and now down at the if there was the possibility would be able to then try and continue to pare down the front row here, but
Zoltan didn't have armor, right? It just got damaged.
Oh, he didn't. That's right. He didn't have armor. Yeah. So this is maybe now a backup plan?
Yeah, I think this is
try to remove the other engine?
It depends. Sif really wants to get ahead here. I think Sif really wants to win on even.
So we see the Great Oak.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
we see
smart.
the Oak. I'm not sure if backup plan would have been enough. It might have been a bit down to RNG what backup plan pulls.
I think you're right, because the most that you'd be looking for, you'd need not. I think it was the delta was 8, so you'd need 9, so you'd need. There's what, like 2 cards that
like
play for 7.
7-point pool, which ends up dealing ideally 2 damage to deal with the brawler.
Yeah, so that feels like the way you trade Oak to win on even feels good. You thin your leader, So Sif in a good position here. Paya finds double, no candle, but a couple of spenders and double open sesame. So that with Acherontia and Heatwave in hand plus Defender feels like a good way to avoid getting 2-0'd for sure. But the Erendite now, especially going first, winning uneven, the Erendite will continue to grow. And if you're Sif, you've got a couple of different ways to play this where a short round 3 feels pretty good for you.
Yeah.
And of course, Sif has a competitive advantage having Barnabas in hand. So, you know, anyone who plays Barnabas immediately gets +5 roll to their initiative.
Yes, but that initiative might be running into Morphic Ambush, perhaps, because there's no Dryad unless you want to use the Neuromancy for a Dryad Enchantress. Which you really don't want to do that when Neuromancy could be getting the Erendite or the Dennis Crammer instead. Or I guess Erendite is found with Lady Lake, you want to use the Nero for the Dennis Crammer. So the Bonner's probably only getting 6 boost on the Elf and the Dwarf.
You know, the things you're saying make a ton of sense, and at the same time, it would require somebody who's good at Gwent to process these things. So thankfully, you're here to guide chat into the right direction of decision making. We do see Sif looking for potentially that back row damage that would have been able to answer this Passiflora Peaches. Actually, this is the only unit on the row, so there was what, three cards plus the Archer would be able to deal 3 damage here. Didn't find any of those.
Yeah, I think it was a bit of a mistake by Paj actually playing that backer because you played into the potential Bowman, but not punished, so that doesn't really matter.
Yep. Hashtag never punished. Oh my god, I just realized my MooBot has a grammar mistake in it. I used the wrong your for you're a talented trash panda. Note to self, must fix. Sif does find removal for the spender here in the bare knuckle brawler, which is really nice.
Yeah, getting rid of that 1/1 spender can make it a lot harder to trigger these open sesame, especially with there being 2 open sesames
Especially with there being 2 in hand, you're exactly right.
It's probably gonna come down to the King of Beggars to be that ideal 1/1 spender. There's one more counter on the King of Beggars remaining, so when this Shady Venger pulls a crime from his tribute, the King of Beggars will hopefully go behind the Azar. And see how the Oxenfurt Guard isn't played next to the Scarabs. There isn't really much to damage pools that Paj is afraid of here, which I'm not sure I necessarily agree with, because the Dwarven Skirmisher could be used to just get through both of them with the Dwarven Chariot providing armor, but the pass is found after the Azar comes out. Maybe we just expected that to come anyways. Open Sesame is used along with the Oxenfurt Guard to... We need a leader charge here to...
I was to say, a leader charge to get you on even coins, which also then helps next round, gets your Open Sesame down a counter as well. Two, four, five,
just
6.
Checking that nothing was lost.
Yeah.
I don't think you click the Novigrad here. The leader charge is just the play.
Yeah. You definitely want to try and keep... You definitely want to try your best to keep, I think, that Novigrad for sure. Because that could represent all kinds of good stuff. And it's just, obviously, it just adds more tempo. We do see Denny Kramer in hand for Sif, which is good. I don't know if you can afford to keep... I don't know if you can... I mean, I don't know. I don't know if you keep the Squirrel. You've got 2 bricks in hand. I think Squirrel's probably pretty good, right?
Skrill is very good here, yeah. Actually, I was gonna note that I said Paja made a slight mistake, arguably, with the positioning on the peaches. But on the flip side, that was also the correct positioning because the
it allowed.
Novigrad triggered before the peaches.
Yep, because of the left to right.
So
Yeah.
Paja was kind of forced into playing at back row because the Novigrad was played back row as well.
So it made it so it needed the coin to trigger horde first, so you needed to play the peaches to to the far right
May
of
your
it.
sword
Yep.
and arm be one.
Which meant that it was able to keep the 4 coins previous round finish, which turned into 2 coins at this round start. So a bit of extra carryover by playing like that. So yeah, it really just comes down to the situation on what row would have been correct to play that card. So a lot of micro play if you want to pay attention to that. Looks like the Novigrad click coming through here. Kind of lucky is chosen with the 2 shady vendors. That seems alright.
Yeah, we'll play for at least 7, which is not bad. The caveat here is that so the King of Beggars comes out now because it was at 1 counter. Good grief. We see another open sesame. But the thing is with the Acherontia is that this Royal Decree is dead. The other cards are obviously fine, but so that's a 1 in 4,
so
but that could be less than ideal for Paya, but still looking pretty good there.
Yeah, so just needs to be skilled essentially.
Still a lot of points for Sif, and does have 2 different, at least 2 different flavors in removal. It has the Heat Wave, and then the Lady of the Lake will be played for the Erendite, which is right now at 11, probably not getting any bigger. You'd have to imagine that Paya will do as much as can. We might see an early Simless here to try and get ahead to get more value on it, but the earlier the Simless, then the less value you get from the Chariot clicks giving armor to the dwarves.
Yeah.
For the Denny Kramer, so.
Yeah.
Officer's word.
Okay. Yeah, I'm curious when this Ixora and the Burr is gonna come down. I think you'd like to play them before the Shady Vendor, just in case they actually do stick. But I expect the Erendite and the Heatwave to be cleaning up the both of them. And then perhaps the Neomancy can be used to find the spores to reset the King of Beggars.
Sif opting not to free click on the armor from the Chariot. I'm not. I guess just expects the Ixora to kill 1 or both of the 2 power dwarves, maybe, but still, I'm kind of surprised.
Yeah,
by that.
there's no reason not to take that, I think.
Yeah, there's no reason not to, especially if maybe Paya missed. Like, we know that Paya has Ixora, but fair enough.
Yeah.
Might have just gone too fast.
Yeah, also because there's the random ping from the cut of Blackie, like you can protect
True.
against that.
That's true. That's a good call. See the Acherontia come down now, and assumedly we'll get an Ops not. Okay, interesting. Ops not to proc it here, so potentially.
I think that might have been a rope, to be honest.
Okay.
I don't think.
Just maybe Paya just didn't have time, because I was surprised by the no click there, and Sif immediately jumps on it.
And now this is looking terrible for Paja.
Yeah, now this suddenly, the dynamic of this changes significantly now with the Acherontia not getting procced even once on deploy. Oy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's still no Chariot click.
And I don't like this positioning either, unless because I would expect Ixora to be Heatwave, which means that this Oxenfurt Guard is just not a good spender.
Yeah, the Oxenfurt Guard would be spending into the Heatwave. That's a good call. Well,
Which just doesn't care about it. Okay. I was wondering, maybe the expectation was that that's fine if the Ixora was taken. So this is actually a surprising number of points still for Paja, but the lead is only like this because we haven't seen the Simless into the Dennis Kramer, which is where the large bulk of Sif's points are going to be coming from.
And no more open sesames, unless there's one that comes off the shady vendor here. No ops to go front row. Takes the damage to remove the swordsman, so that's an extra pointer. I think 2 points in the end. Would have been clicked 2 more times, so that feels nice. But that's and Paya's still up about 40 points here, with the heat wave in hand. But the ups. Okay, so we see the Simless now, and then holding on to. I thought we might see the Aneromancy first to deny the heat wave value.
Like you were barely one.
Yeah, I think it depends a bit on what you're expecting last card to be. If you're expecting last card to be the heat wave, then an error into spores was probably a little more correct there.
Yeah, I would have thought a Nero into spores just to deny, to maximize the value that you could, then you can play Simless for free.
I would hope Sif did the maths and was like, if this is a heat wave, I still win.
6 + 8 + 5.
Though.
Oh no. So the other thing here is that like any of those, if any of that, the chariot clicks went on to the far left unit that didn't end up getting, because obviously one of the dwarves got clapped.
Yeah.
Then I mean there's extra points there too. Yeah, not clicking chariot might have been the do-in there. But I still think that, like, I know we have perfect information, but the order of operations there seemed interesting, because the lose con, or at least in this case the draw, is playing into the heat wave. Why not just spores first, and then you get to play Simless and Denny Kramer maximally and uninterrupted.
Yeah. Look, in theory, maybe lose a point or two on the spores. Because, like, there was a coin in the bank that went on to the King of Beggars, I think. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Well, both players, I mean, and to be fair, Paya should have also had a lot more points, or would have had, if not roping on the turn when the Akarantia was played, so there's that too.
Yeah. What time is it for players? It should be a reasonable hour for players, because...
Yeah, we started at 3 p.m. local for them, so this should be. I mean, we've only been doing this for 2 hours, so it should be okay.
What time is it for you, Salty?
The highest armor does, Mosh, but the thing is that then you can play if the. I'd have to go back and look at it, but I think what my brain told me was that then you can play the Simless in the best place possible, and with the chariot clicks, then you get to maximize where the armor went. Because like you said, the biggest unit will get, or the thing that had them, like either the unit or armor gets heat waved. But if you play the spores there, then you can choose to click the chariot somewhere else. For I don't know. Maybe I'm mathing that wrong. Lemon, give me 1 second. I'm gonna reload my water as we jump into both players replaying this game. So I'll let you take the helm and chat. Stand by. I'll be right back.
Okay, so this is a replay. So it'll be a bit interesting to see how this develops differently to before. Notably a lot less gold heavy hand in terms of gold units here for Sif, which is what you want to play to try to win on even. Stuff like the Arendite and the Heatwave don't tend to be as great here. It's trying to have that point slam potential. You actually see Paja holding on to the Madam here, maybe changing his tune, saying, if you're gonna win on even, fine. I'm gonna just use my Madam to defend the bleed. But I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. Because it still feels like you're gonna run into problems with Zoltan being combined with the leader.
Hey, what's that up your sleeve?
Oh, Madam is bricked because there's a slice of Duchess in hand. So that is not an intentional decision then by Paja, kind of forced there. And this does mean that Sif can win on even by spending relatively little. Yeah, had to use a couple of leader charges to kill the early peaches, but you're just playing a collection of bronzes effectively, and yeah. So now, Paja has 8 coins in the bank. Can go for a bit of a big spend here, perhaps with this Oxen perk off. Get ahead by, what, like 11 points right now? I think we'll need a 10-point play from Sif to catch up and get ahead.
Okay, sorry about that, Lemon. I have returned to make everyone suffer.
Don't say that, Salty. It's great to have you back.
That makes my heart feel good. I'm grinning like an idiot now. Thank you, Lemon.
I was struggling. I didn't even notice the Madam was bricked with the slice of Ductress. I needed you here to point out the flaws in my noticings.
Yeah, brick sly Madam Seductress, not good, bad.
Yes, exactly.
I did good, right, chat? I did good. This is absolutely unrelated, and I'm sure that there's a lot of really great Gwent stuff going on, but I have to share. Chat, am I crazy in thinking that wedding invitations have gotten to the point that people invite you to their wedding, potentially knowing that you are unlikely to attend, such that you will buy something on their wedding registry? I don't know if that's an exclusively Americanism or a Westernism, but that I have been invited to like 5 weddings in the last 8 months, and 4 of those are from people that like I only know as acquaintances, and I am sure that they know I am not flying 1,000 miles to their wedding, and they just do it because they want me to buy something on their wedding registry.
I think I did read online somewhere it was like maybe a unethical life hack or something where you should, if you have a wedding, send like a wedding invitation to a bunch of like rich,
yes, yeah, like send them to like Jeff Bezos and the CEO of like the the top 100 Fortune companies, and then they'll have the involuntarily
their assistants won't really check if they should or shouldn't worry about coming to the wedding. They'll be like, sorry we couldn't come, but we'll get you this thing on your registry or whatever.
Yeah, feels hashtag feels bad, but maybe that's anyway. Lemon, thank you for confirming my worst suspicions about people. What all did I miss?
Well, with the bricked Madam, it was quite easy for Sif to end up winning on even. Did end up having to commit the Zoltan towards the tail end of the round 1, as well as a couple of leader charges to deal with some engines, which does make it a lot easier now, I think, for Paja to defend the bleed. Looks like Sif is focusing on shutting down the spenders, Erendite being used to kill a bunch of little kids in the form of the street urchins. But this is quite a god-heavy hand. I mean, the Madam can just come down and that ought to be enough.
I'm sorry, I admit that I just didn't expect today to hear the phrase being used to kill a bunch of little kids.
Or not only little kids, but little kids that are down on luck living out on the street. I can't believe Sif could do this.
Lemon, the headcanon for this card. Poor street urchins.
Brick Lady the Lake. Okay. Brick Lady the Lake, not really helping with the push here. This is now.
And also the Bricked Armorer's Workshop doesn't feel good either.
Yeah. Okay, you're gonna be able to stay ahead here pretty easily. Fine. Good work. But if you have a gold heavy hand, pay the toll. And what's the least valuable thing here? Might be the decree. We might just see some consistency forced out.
Yeah, it could be.
And the problem is, if you don't play the Madam here, then you have Brick City in the form of the King of Beggars, the Seductress, and the Peaches still in deck going into this round 3.
That's true. You'll have 3 bricks in hand, which is not great. So we do see the royal decree here over the madam for the shady vendor, which to your point is assumedly looking for carryover value. Maybe you just play it for an eavesdrop here to try and get put the Akarantia back and get a worse card.
It puts it to the bottom. No.
Is it bottom? I think it is. I think it is bottom. I think you're right. So we don't do that.
So yes, I don't. From memory, I don't think that would be wise.
Barnabas here? Great Oak?
Okay, maybe Sif is smelling blood in the water here. So it looks like it's just the 2 damage being used here to set up a potential kill for the leader.
Mosh, I had asked if it was an Americanism or a Westernism that increasingly it feels like people invite you to their weddings, knowing that you probably can't attend because it's, 2,000 miles away from where you live, with the intent of essentially trying to goad you into buying something on their registry. And noting that I flew from Florida to Soldotna, Alaska, which was a 19-hour trip for my friend's wedding. So I'll go anywhere, but just not for someone that I've met like 3 times in my life. We did see the Akarantia played here, and so now Sif gets to decide if the Akarantia just gets played, then there's probably some value hiding in Paya's hand, and then we see Denny Kramer come down. So Sif holding on to leader. And now Paya has to either spend defender or madam. Presumably defender, and it is in fact defender. Opts to take the coin carryover. And now really what you've got left in hand, or what you've got left for round 3 if you're Sif, is like Simless leader. But opts to trade the Armorer's Workshop for the last card. A really nice read from Sif. Don't know if Sif's gonna have what point Sif is gonna have left. But
there's the Arendite still.
Yeah, we'll get the Arendite back.
Look, even if the leader doesn't get a kill, it could be used potentially to set up the Barnabas. Yeah, there's some options.
Wait, Mosh, are you actually getting married next week? Like, no shit? And in Alaska, too? Is that true? Lemon, why didn't you tell me this?
I was not aware.
So what you're saying is that you and I didn't get a first round of invites. We're only now getting this second round.
No,
can you not attend? I'll send you a link to my registry. I Gewalt. Sif has a backup plan and a sword master, and opts to keep. So opts not to go looking for assimilates, which would have just been for the Armorer's Workshop. Presumably, maybe doesn't want to find drawn to something terrible like just the Armorer's Workshop. Makes perfect sense. This oddly enough, this bare knuckle brawler is actually going to do a ton of work for Pajabol here at the end.
Yeah.
You could backup plan and leader, and if you roll into damage, you probably can kill the Ixora.
Yeah, you'd love to get. Problem is, you don't want to leader. You need to save the leader for the last card, the Arendite, because otherwise the brawler could just board wipe. So I think it's wise to go for the Arendite early here. Although on the flip side, this does actually enable this spender to actually get kind of maximum value here. Should be down to a leader and a backup plan to can that match up to. Okay, these are not good pools. These are terrible
These
pools.
are all just
a spender here would have won part of the game, but
these are all 4-point cards that don't generate coins either.
Yeah.
Well, No, you never. I mean, I guess.
Okay, you go for the Lonely Champion. Lonely Champion is,
Yeah.
we know, the best play because of the armor
The armor. Yeah.
would actually absorb some damage. That could come into play.
So that'll be worth 2 points on the backup plan. And so now, is there 13 points?
And surely backup plan can find damage to then get a leader. I think this Fryhead officer
It's 5.
gets the leader, gets the thinning. That should be enough. By 2, I
Eight is
think.
by 2. Sif wins by 2. Whoa. Man, so the first game was a draw, and the second game was came down to a short round 3 and was a 2-point win by Sif. What a game! Wow.
Yeah, that was such a strange round 2. Players just slinging golds back and forth, bricks back and forth, saying, okay, I'll go this hard, you need to go this hard, or I'm gonna commit like this, oh no, now you need to do this. I really think the reason that the Madam was kept for so long was because it would have enabled the King of Beggars to come out in that round 3. And the reason that was important is because then you actually have a spender, which boosts a 1-for-1 spender, can trigger your Open Sesame in Graveyard, and that could have made all the difference. But King of Beggars not coming out at the perfect time means that the spending is just way too awkward. There were so many coins, the Open Sesame in Graveyard, which just did not get value there for Paja. Nothing to put the coins towards, and that does mean that Sif was able to take that.
Lemon, I'm not crazy. I can do math. It's like 3 o'clock in the morning for you now, right?
Yeah, it's 3:14 now. Yeah. What time is it for you?
It's 11:14 a.m.
Okay, so reasonable.
Yeah, that's why I was chuckling, because I was like, yeah, like it, and that's actually why it looks like I'm being irradiated, but it's because my curtains over here are an orange color, and even with the blinds down, there's enough light coming through that it's for the next like hour and a half, the sun will be right over my left shoulder. Yoral's right is facing, so it will make it look like I'm being naturally irradiated. But I am moving here in the next few months, and when I move, I'm going to go through the effort of building a gaming room, and it is going to be luxuriated to include with full blackout curtains, so that way I can go in my room in the morning and not know that it's nighttime.
That's gonna be so cool.
Oh, Mosh.
Well, maybe not the not knowing it's nighttime bit, but not having sun glaring is great.
No, Lemon, fuck touching grass. That's what plebes do. I'm not a plebe. I'm a weeb. Mosh, I don't know who did. I have never actually seen a woman, so I mean I'm not entirely sure what dating is. So yes, that is fantastic. New kink unlocked.
Can we maybe make a Gwent gaming house? I think maybe the ship has sailed on that one, but.
I mean, we could figure out how to land it, and then we can all just sit and like rage we can be in real life raging about missing cards.
Yeah.
The House of Citrus, the house that Citrus built. Salt plus lemon plus tequila sounds delicious. Meanwhile, back in the game, speaking of game, we sadly get to see Cultists getting played. There is control in Sif's deck, but presumably not nearly enough to deal with Cultists, so it's going to have to be tempo and bleeding.
I think in this kind of matchup, you need to use the jackpot leader on the turn you play the Freaksure to get like 18 potential damage coming down in one turn.
Agreed. So you can just remove threats on threats. Yeah. Yeah,
and you can try and combine that with the Horsen quite nicely.
Yeah, it's really the ability, the Horsen ability to for Insanity also will probably come into play here, because there's going to be some units with armor, and you can ignore that armor, which is really nice.
Yeah. Although this is why Paja has this leader, and also now Fawn isn't a thing in this list. The leader can be saved to just play around the horse and those kind of control pieces. The question is, there's kind of two ways you can approach this as the opposing player to Cultists here. Do you use your control tools early to try to shut down the deacons, try and cut off the head of the Hydra? Or do you wait until later in like the round 3 or whatever, when all the fused units are coming out all at once, and try to stem the tide of engines at that point?
I assume this is insta-lock? Yeah.
Yeah.
So this gets insta-locked and there's no answer for it. So like you said, I think maybe the line is to hold on to the horse in as late as possible because it's so valuable, but obviously Sif wanted to...
But at the same time, you did see the decree being used, which kind of tells you there's no deacon in hand, so you can sort of read a little bit into the hand there that, okay, even if they use the necromancy, the teleportation isn't any use now.
6 feels like a good number. I mean, if you're willing to commit Freak Show, you're probably willing to commit horse in here, right?
I think so. I mean, the thing is, the Freak Show shuts down the potential teleportation. The Horsen isn't doing that now. You're only shutting down one infusion with the Horsen, which I don't know if that's valuable enough.
And instead we see H&A, which will start getting value next turn. Although the placement doesn't... Shouldn't this go to the right, so then that way the tax collector gains the coin?
152, 154.
First?
Yeah, probably.
Right, because now this won't. Now the Vitor won't trigger on a pass here. I don't assume that Sif is passing, but just as a point of fact.
Yeah, or if there wasn't any coin generation, it wouldn't trigger. I think that is correct.
By the way, Lemon, Mosh rightly said that if we combine the entire streaming income of the Gwent Twitch category, that we could maybe rent a small shack in Poland for all of us to play Gwent in real life. So,
right.
Yeah, the fact that we haven't done that yet feels like a miss, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I'll just pick up my whole life. Who needs to finish a university degree? I can just go play Gwent in this small shack in Poland instead. But, speaking of Poland, Paja of Team Poland gave up on that round. Yeah, see what I did there? And,
you see what I did there?
this does give Sif the opportunity to go for the bleed, and we do see that coming out now. I remember sort of scrimming. Actually, no, I didn't scrim. I just theorized about this match because I didn't want to play against cultists much. I did actually scrim it because you have to. Back when it was more lined pockets and you had stuff like Ixora, this will play out a lot differently because sometimes Ixora could be enough to just shut down all the cultists because you could potentially board wipe and it would be very good. But no Ixora in this list means that it's a lot less control.
True.
So you have poisons, but yeah, it's gonna be a struggle. Your only direct damage is this Horse and Junior.
And I guess conceivably, like, you could also do a little bit of horse and setup with the Salamandras, but the leader, as you pointed out before, Pajabol's leader is going to help to make, like, Paya knows what the list is and knows that as long as he's above, as long as his units are above 5, that's not going to be a line. So an illusionist here gets the infusion.
The stars align.
So the illusionist gets the deacon infusion. You could conceivably kill this deacon to prevent the, as you pointed out before, to prevent the teleportation by playing the Salamandra on it.
Yeah, I think that is the play here. Very good prediction.
But like you said, you can only do that one.
inefficient.
You can only play that game one more time, and there's plenty of other ways that this is going to get out of hand.
Yeah. Was gonna just say, that was 8 coins spent to deal 4 damage.
Just show, yeah. Which I see what you're getting at, which is just to say like how like how fucked cultists can get.
Yeah.
See the foul beast and its retinue.
Premium grade. Can't find any better.
Premium grade.
Yeah, I don't think Paja's like even under any threat here.
No.
Now, the problem is, Paja doesn't have access to scenario. So I'll let you know a bit of a secret that if Sif keeps going, Paja's really in a bad place. Because these cultist infusions aren't doing much.
No,
the only way
no
Paja can
leaders.
really cash in on that is with an initiate.
No leader spent on the. Oh, that's it. I thought that we were gonna see the salamander. Okay. Wow.
Yeah, so I think no scenario, it's over. Paja gives up.
Yeah. Wild. Wow. Wow. I would have at least thought maybe you play it out through the bleed, but I suppose but Paya knows the lines like you said, not having scenario, and that bleed was never not going to continue.
Yeah, like I think maybe Paja could have played it out and tried to get the initiates through, but we might have seen the same kind of play with like the Salamander Mage into the Horse to finish it off anyways, and then you're just kind of screwed.
So now we
and
see
then with
this...
the Madam coming down, that's actually more engine value than the cultists had at that point. So that does mean Sif goes up to match point, I believe.
Yep. Sif now on the hill 2-1.
So, just needs to get a win with the Renfrey Priestess list. We'll probably see Paja with the lined pockets on blue coin here again. And I think should be in a decent spot. Like, especially if you can rest round control with the Madam. I think it could be fine.
And then Paya's gonna have access to cultists again, and then also monsters? Was that the other one that was unbanned?
No, Monsters was banned. It's
Monsters
going
was
to be the lined pockets and the cultists. The same decks that Paja lost the previous two games with.
That's right. It was
Actually
lined
takes the
pockets.
cultists on blue coin here. So maybe saying, okay, I'm really sad I didn't get scenario that game. I'm gonna guarantee it now with my curse scroll stratagem, but does actually find it organically here, just on the draws. So we'll probably see one brigade mulliganed, the other likely kept in hand to be put to bottom of the deck with curse scroll. Deciding to keep the initiates for later. Yeah, I thought Paja was gonna be like red coin here, and that was why I was gonna see it the other way around, the Qs, because that was also what was taken in the previous two games. But I guess the suck thinks that the other coins are favored in the different matchups.
And then also, I mean, I don't know for what it's worth, but yeah, that's what I was gonna ask, is what Maytol just said, which is if the scroll makes the cultists from blue a little
Marked
bit better.
by the Fiendu.
And of course, just the raw value of with cultists of going first, and that you begin establishing your engines and getting the carryover value from round one.
Yeah, it's also just it's just easier for the cultists to win the round one here going first. Also, because then the Northern Realms, the Sith list doesn't end up getting their stratagem as well, so bit of a point difference.
Oh, true. It was planned from the start to win 3-2. So we see the teleportation going through, so Paya definitely getting some of that initial value that you look for.
The Vilgefortz in this list. That's kind of good against priestesses, you know.
Yeah, that's true. Huh. Yeah. What's the...
Prophet can be deceptively good as well in the sort of late round 3 situation.
So that's... Is that... Is that the combination of Royal Decree and Necromancy? That makes it so that then you don't have room for Vilgefortz? I don't know what's actually played. Or what was
There is a
played.
Vilgefortz.
Oh, oh, I'm sorry. It's right there in the hand. I was like, I didn't know what you cut for Vilgefortz. You're saying that
The cut compared to the previous list you're thinking of is a Fawn. Because after the rework, he's no longer really
He doesn't do
useful
the same thing.
for casters.
But yeah,
So
you're right. The Vilgefortz
You cut the
is...
Afan, you free up 10 provisions, and yeah. They always run the Necro, so I guess you kind of change your farm for Decree and you have like a second Magni.
Yeah, which puts another, if the infusions go right, puts another cultist on the board while also thinning. And then, yeah, like you said, the Vilgefortz is also nice into Priestess because as Sif wants to thin fairly low, then you can kind of fiddle with that. You can do some shenanigans maybe that make the Vernon Roach but worse.
Ooh. Unfortunate miss there.
Yeah, it doesn't kill off the initiate.
I thought that was a Renfrey leader, but no, that's just Onaga. One Onaga down. And so none of the golds in Operator does have the Master of Ceremonies infusion here of the golds in hand, so could pair that with the Initiate infusion, but like don't really want to play the Operator here. That's really not ideal.
I mean, if you infuse the Onager, it would kill the Onager this turn if it gets played that way.
Yeah, if you okay, so yeah, it does play the Operator to get that kill. Recruit isn't really useful for Sith, because the only bronze soldiers in deck are Siege Master and the Trident, which obviously you don't really want to play either of those here.
Good call. And that's, so yeah, that explains taking that over the Magni just for the you know, to click something for Operator, because it has a lot more value to Paya. That's really nice.
Yeah.
Obviously, you generally want to play it, which is what you're getting at. You generally want to play it for Initiate, but how Paja played it here is probably fine. You can play a recruit for a recruit, right?
Yes, it can sort of reset itself that way.
So you'd get 2 points back, plus you'd get an extra click on the Onager, so it would be 3 points.
Yes, it's a nice little synergy there. Bit of cross-faction interaction.
I'm assuming that there's more, like, there's more things that you would want to play from it that you would rather play, like but the Magni division would have to be played for a battle stations. The Illusionist would play for another Onager, which is not bad.
Yeah, I don't think the illusion.
Hey!
Really yeah.
A recruit for a recruit. Look at that. That's funny.
Not great pulls from the Vigo. Probably just gonna lock the Omega.
Beaters forward. Let the hunt begin.
And here comes some extra infusions. So note that these infusions don't actually have like that engine chapter 1 edition from the scenario, but they will still trigger all these engines with the scenario infusion. But there's the Purify here because Redain Secret Service exists. maybe it was still slightly better to get the actually no, I think you just kind of need to bite the bullet. And the luck gets purified for free now, so that your later luck actually does find the value.
So Dej, the idea is that if you play another, if you were gonna play the recruit for something else anyway, like like an illusionist, then pulling out the recruit delaying yourself by a turn and pulling out the recruit gives you another point on the onager when you click its order the second time, and you get 2 points back because there was damage to the recruit that was on board. So essentially it delays whatever you might have done with the onager or with the recruit click by a turn, but you get 3 points back. So, and it also allows you to delay a turn potentially if you needed to do an infusion. And then we see here, so now this recruit gets played again, the other recruit gets played again, and in this instance now it has a cultist tag on it, so you get value from the cultist infusions on board. Not a great Vilgefortz there.
Yeah, what you want to see.
Yeah. Now the Istrid comes down, and you don't have a lock.
Yeah, no lock.
And Sif keeping pace here.
Yeah. And this hand is not great for Paja. Like, I'm not sold by these double Magnis. They've looked very, very awkward when we've seen them in these games. Like,
Yeah, especially here because there are literally only 2 other tactics left in the deck, so you're gonna have to, like, if you play the, I mean, if you play the Magni here for the battle stations, which I think you'd hate to do that if you're Pajabol, but if you do that,
you can't.
Yeah, you wouldn't get your draw values.
Yeah. However, Istrid can kind of fix this profit lock, but look at what's locked here. You just play out the break to entry game.
So do you click the recruit and just play another recruit again here?
Feels terrible.
Yeah.
I don't think so, because you're really not gaining much from doing so.
Yeah, it's not infused, so yeah, exactly. You'd be playing essentially.
Yeah.
As you wouldn't. I mean, you play the illusionist for
what, you'd gain 5 points by doing that? That's like really
and setting
not
yourself up
making a
to maybe lose on
here.
even.
Yeah, I think you just pass. This is still a decent lead. Like, Sif would probably have to commit the Wanderers and the Renfrey. But, okay, we just go for the battle stations.
So just plays it for tempo here.
I don't know if I'd call that tempo.
Well, plays it just for the points and not because because there's almost no value interaction on board. So it was what, 7? That was a 7-point battle stations. Am I crazy? Put 7 points on the board. Random ping kills the Kedweni Rev, which feels awful.
Yeah. Illusionist. Well, I guess it's just an illusion.
Oh, you're right, Maytol, because of the onager. It was 8.
Few vultures dare venture into the Von Morlohun's wood.
At least you've got a whole bunch of recruits for round 3.
152, 154.
What? It's still just... Yeah. Okay, you put the recruit back in deck, so 2 recruits, which I don't think work very well here.
You can bring back an initiate, which feels terrible in this round and where the board is at, but also now the click on the Istrid. Does the click on the Istrid get you there? Istrid is at 4.
Oh yeah, it wouldn't be enough in and of itself.
Yeah, so now paired with leader Renfrey, it more than gets you there, right? But
yeah.
Gather secret.
So Paya's probably gonna lose on even here then.
Looks like it. And if you lose on even, you probably lose the game.
I mean, you either play the recruit. There's no way that you play the Magni here just because you don't want to brick it. But I mean, you are potentially gonna brick it by either having to play the Royal Decree without it or play it first, right? So ends up playing.
Goes for the cultist trigger. Okay, yeah, that makes sense actually.
And now
that's the only way you have a chance of winning.
That's enough because this is 10 with the snowdrop. This is 10, 11, 12, 13, 14.
Okay. That Istrid was too patient. Got up to draw up to 6 cards, but there's such thing as being too patient. Waited for the moment, and that moment passed, literally.
Yeah. So opted to greed the Istrid for one more turn, and then ended up not being able to click it. Neither of the priestesses have been buffed. And the Vilgeforts pulled out one of the two mentors.
Yeah.
So the drawing the mentor is the only other way now to buff the priestesses so that they...
Yeah. To be fair, I don't think the Zeal doesn't matter that much. It just means you can't play it as the last card. Like, there's not really direct damage coming through for the cultist from the cultists. So
and they have Veil, don't they?
Safe to just have them build.
Yeah, and they have Veil, so it's not like you can infuse it to kill it with an initiative.
Exactly. You can't or lock it either. But then, look, right now they don't have that many charges, and as you said, one of the mentors got pulled out with the Vilgeforts. So, yeah, that's 7-3 charges on the 2 priestesses. Only 1 mentor remaining. I think 1 leader charge remaining too. Oh no, no leader charges. Their own few was played. So yeah.
This is set up. I think this is set up perfectly for Sif though.
I don't. Yeah. Yeah, Sif. Depending on when they probably use the leader early to then guarantee mentor to find the Vernon Roche. Does not look good for Paja.
You could play the recruit. You could play the recruit to go ahead and pull out the Magni division to play the Royal Decree.
Hit the mark, we aim above the mark.
Yeah, that's definitely the play.
Those are the two. Wow, those are the 2 worst pulls you could have possibly had for this mentor, right? It didn't draw or buff a priestess.
Yeah.
So
but it does mean that you... Oh, yeah. Actually, yeah. No, Zeal means you can't sort of get some shenanigans together.
Oh, no, but Paya drew the Magni division with the Dandelion Poet.
But he just decreed into the...
Instead of playing the recruit for the Magni to then play the Magni on the decree for the poet, decided to raw dog the poet, and then the poet drew the one brick. To answer your question, Mosh, it's Wrath and then lowest provision card at the end.
Yeah.
And then the only other soldiers would just be cycling these recruits, so the click there doesn't really do anything.
But yeah, with no onagers or anything, there's not much value gained from doing so.
Kind of surprised by the placement here, though. Yeah. So, like you said, so it pulls out the traveling priestess, but
the deacon can infuse one of the recruits in deck, which can then be pulled by this.
Oh, true.
By this board. Yeah. Here's the priestess. We could see the trident get, but there's no lock remaining. I think. No.
So yeah, so there is the Margarita lock left for Sif.
Taking out.
There is a teleportation, so if this initiate gets locked, it could get teleported.
Yeah.
Don't really know how good that is, but this.
These priestesses aren't amazing for priestess standards, but with how both these decks have kind of just broken down over the course of this game so far, not gotten the setups they wanted. That was, I think, 12 pings in total, or 12 boosts in total, transformed into 12 damage pings. So, yeah, it's
I hope we can trust you.
able to kill off one of the cultist engines. The other gets locked.
And this
Taj is getting
Magni
bored.
not playing the Royal Decree, or not playing the recruit for the Magni and instead playing the Royal Decree and breaking into the Magni hurts too, because that, you know,
Yeah.
it's only worth a couple of points, and the gap here is going to be a lot more than that.
Yeah. Also, I'm not sure really what kind of one-turn combos you could have done, but by clicking the recruit, you get Magni into Decree, then you could have played like another thing from hand. So you Decree into something from deck,
True.
and play another unit from hand all in one turn.
And also, the more units on board would have made it harder to kill with the random Trident pings. That's true too.
Yeah. Maybe it plays a bit better around like the 6 damage on 3 leader as well, maybe getting things out of range. I'm not sure. Look. This cultist list with like the double Magni and the recruits,
Yeah.
and no Afan now with the change to Afan, it's a lot harder, it seems, for the cultists to win round 1 compared to previously. Like, they can, but especially depending on what their on one hand looks like, they can cripple themselves for the rest of the game. But very well played there from Sif, I think, and does take the victory in the series 3-1.
What is dead may never die. That is also true, Mosh. That is well stated. Yeah, so we see Sif taking that match.